Good evening children, welcome to Turito, the online classes for foundation program in order to crack the IIT JEE as well as NEET examinations, and of course as well as you are going to crack the other competitive exams like NTSC etc. Okay, Olympiad, right. In the previous classes we have discussed about the chemical classification of matter. On the basis of chemical classification or chemical behavior, matter can be taken into two categories, pure substances and mixtures. When you mix two pure substances, we get a mixture. Okay. Pure substances are further classified into element and compound. Elements are the pure substances which cannot be further divided by chemical means. Okay, we can use only the physical means to we cannot separate the further into simpler substances or simpler components by chemical reactions, whereas compounds can be further categorized or can be divided into simpler components, two or more constituents by chemical reactions. Okay, elements when the further classified into metals, non-metals and metalloids, we have discussed all those things. Okay, in the case of compounds also we have discussed the properties in the previous class, right. Coming to the mixtures, mixtures are obtained by the combination of two or more pure substances. Of course, based on the classification we have seen that in the case of classification, the mixtures can be further divided into homogeneous and heterogeneous because of the mixing of the two components. If the two components are going to be mixed in a uniform fashion, we get a homogeneous mixture. If the mixing is heterogeneous, in that case we end up with the formation of a heterogeneous mixture. In the previous class we have discussed about these mixtures as well, right. And then we have seen or we have gone through the differences between the compound and the mixture, that is pure substance and impure substances. Okay. Today let us focus on some of the questions that we can expect in the case of the chemical classification, that we can expect in the main level examination. Some of the questions which can be come up to main level or main level examination kind of questions we are going to discuss today. Okay. First one, which of the following is an gaseous element? Which of the following is a gaseous element? So, which of the following is gaseous element? We have to identify: fluorine, calcium, iron, cobalt. So, when we are discussing about the metals and non-metals, there we have come across the metals or most of the metals are solid state room condition. Mostly the non-metals are gaseous form. So, we can identify in this case we have to identify a gaseous element. So, it should be it can be a non-metal. So, we have to identify among the given four options which is non-metal is. So, if you see here, fluorine is a non-metal. Fluorine is a non-metal. In the last class when we are discussing about the periodic table, the elements, I have shown you that the non-metals are going to occupy the top right corner, and most of the area the left side and the middle portion of the periodic table is occupied by metals, because metals are around 75%, more than 75% of the periodic table are occupied by metals only. We have very small dozen elements as non-metals. Okay, they are going to occupy the top right side portion. So, fluorine is a non-metal, right, and calcium is a metal. Calcium is a metal. Iron, we know it is a metal. Cobalt is also a metal. Okay, so three options are metal and one is non-metal. So, it is very simple that fluorine is a gas. How it is going to exist in nature? In nature, fluorine will exist as F2 gas, that is diatomic gas. It is existing in nature as F2 gas. Okay. Now, next one, the liquid metal at room temperature. So, at room temperature, which metal exists in liquid form? At room condition, which metal is going to exist as liquid? So, among the given options, if you observe, sodium is a metal, mercury is a metal, magnesium is a metal, calcium is also a metal. So, all metals are given. So, we have to identify which metal is going to exist as liquid form or in liquid form at room condition. So, if you observe, sodium we know it exists as Na, a solid form. Okay. Whereas mercury the symbol what we use is Hg. Hg is mercury which exists as liquid at a room temperature. Magnesium represented with Mg. Mg exists as a solid form. Magnesium solid form. Calcium also represented as Ca exists as solid at a room condition. So among the given metals, only mercury is the metal which exists as liquid at a room temperature. So at room temperature, which metal is existing as liquid? Mercury is existing as liquid. So this point you have to be very careful in identifying the answer. Okay. Which among the following is non-metal? So among the following, which is non-metal? So we have to identify the non-metal from the given list. Okay. So they have given the names, they have not given the symbols. Okay. So I will write the symbols first and then you have to identify which is a non-metal. Okay. So nickel is represented as Ni, sulfur represented as S, cobalt represented as Co, zinc is represented as Zn. So the symbols are given for the elements, and almost all the elements in nature exist as solids. So this is an exception non-metal which exists in the form of a solid when compared to the other non-metals. Mostly the non-metals are gaseous substances. Most of the non-metals are gases in nature. Okay. One non-metal is a liquid. What is that? Bromine. Bromine is a liquid non-metal. We have non-metal like iodine. Iodine is a solid component. Solid non-metal is iodine. Phosphorus, solid non-metal. It exists as a solid. Sulfur in nature exists as a solid. So sulfur is also a non-metal, but it is a solid. Carbon, non-metal, but it is a solid. Okay. So some of the non-metals exist as solid form and one exists in liquid form, but most of them are gases. So here the options given all are solid forms only. All in nature, whether it is a nickel, sulfur, cobalt, zinc, all exist in nature in solid form. So which is correct in this case? Sulfur is the element which is non-metal. Okay, sulfur is the element which is non-metal. It is next member of the oxygen family. So carbon, nitrogen, oxygen and phosphorus, sulfur, all these are the non-metals. Okay, so sulfur is a non-metal, right? Metals form dash by losing electrons from their valency shell. Metals, generally whenever we write a metal, okay, metal loses electron, metal will lose electron. So it is going to lose the electron, it will lose the electron and thereby it is going to form a, as we have discussed, whenever we have an atom on losing the electron, it is going to take or it is going to convert into its corresponding ion with the loss of electron. When electron is lost, it is going to have a positive charge. Okay. For example, let me write A is an atom. By losing the electron, it forms A plus and electron. So it is losing the electron, it is giving out electron and converting, A is converting into A plus. So A plus is called as the species which is having positive charge is taken as cation. Similarly, there are some atoms in the periodic table which are going to gain the electron, which will take the electron, which is going to accept an electron and thereby they get a negative charge. Whenever they get a negative charge, we call them as anions. So metals has the ability to lose the electron. When they lose the electron, they convert into the corresponding cation. They convert into corresponding cation. So cation is going to be obtained from a neutral atom. Neutral atom on losing the electron convert into a cation. Okay. So for this particular answer, metals form dash. They form cations by losing the electron from their valency shell. Okay. For example, if we are going to take a metal like sodium, sodium is a solid, it is going to convert into Na plus ion with the loss of electron. So Na plus ion, sodium cation. Okay. Similarly, potassium will convert into K plus electron. So it will convert into its corresponding K plus cationic form. Calcium by losing 2 electrons will convert into calcium with a +2 charge. So it is losing 2 electrons, so 2 positive charges are going to appear. Magnesium, similar way, it is going to convert into Mg +2 with the loss of 2 electrons. So magnesium loses 2 electron and convert into Mg with a +2 charge. Calcium in the similar fashion loses 2 electrons, convert into calcium with a +2 charge. Okay. Potassium and sodium, they lose 1 electron and convert into corresponding cation. So here Na plus, K plus, Ca plus, Mg, Ca plus 2, Mg plus 2, all are cations. So metals will form cations by losing the electrons from their valency shell. So when they are losing the electron from their valency shell, we are going to get corresponding cations of those metals. So we are going to get the cations by when the metal loses the electrons from their valency shell. So cation is the correct answer. Okay. Now let us see one more. A non-metal which is a good conductor of heat and electricity. So here asking among the following one non-metal which is a good conductor of heat and electricity. We have discussed that metals are generally the good conductors of heat and electricity. Okay. So here they are asking us to identify the non-metal which is a good conductor of heat and electricity. There I have told you, non-metals are generally bad conductors of heat and electricity, but there are some exceptions. Okay, there are some exceptions we have. So among the following non-metal which is a good conductor of heat and electricity: phosphorus, silicon, graphite, sulfur. So phosphorus is represented with the P, carbon is with silicon with the Si, graphite is it's a combination of carbon atom, it's an allotropic form of carbon. Okay, sulfur represented with the As. Of course, phosphorus, silicon, sulfur all are bad conductors of heat and electricity, but graphite, in this case the carbon is going to exhibit sp2 hybridization, it is going to have one unpaired electron. The free unpaired electron that is present in the graphite is capable of conducting the heat and electricity. So heat and electricity is conducted by a graphite. So graphite is the example non-metal which is a good conductor of heat and electricity. There we have discussed while we are dealing the differences between metals and non-metals, right. So graphite is the correct answer for this particular question. Yeah, can you give what kind of electrovalency the non-metals are going to exhibit? Non-metals exhibit dash electrovalency. So please look at this one, give me the answer, meanwhile I will come back in 1 second. Okay. Right, non-metals will exhibit dash kind of electrovalency. As we have just now discussed that whenever we have a metal will lose the electron. Generally metals are electropositive in nature. Electropositive. Why they are called as electropositive? They lose the electron and convert into positively charged species. Positively charged species is formed. Okay, positively charged one. Right. Therefore, we can say that metals are electropositive. What are metals? Metals are electropositive. Then what about the non-metals then? Non-metals generally they will accept the electron and convert into the corresponding anions. Just now we have discussed that atom with a negative charge is taken as anion. So here non-metal taking the electron converting into anion. Anion means it has a negative charge. So it is a negatively charged species. So a negatively charged species is going to be formed when a non-metal accepts an electron, and thereby it gives a non-metal with a negative charge. So we get a negatively charged species. Okay. So negatively charged component is obtained here. Very clear? Right. So here we can say that since they are forming the negatively charged species, Non-metals are electronegative. What are they? Non-metals are electronegative. And for this question, non-metals exhibit electronegative valency. What is it? Electronegative. Non-metals are electronegative because they are forming the negatively charged ions, whereas metals are electropositive. Why they are electropositive? Because metals are forming the positively charged cations. Okay, so the formation of cation anion is given, and based on that we can say that metals are electropositive, whereas non-metals are electronegative. Electropositive means they lose the electrons easily. Electronegative means they easily accept the electrons. Okay, right. Let us now move on to the next one. Metals displace dash from the acids. We have discussed while we are dealing the metals concept. Metals generally reacts with the acids. So in that process, when they are reacting with acids, acids are the components which are having H plus ions. Acids are the compounds which are having H plus ions. So when H plus ions are present with the acids, so metals will displace that H plus ions, and thereby hydrogen gas is going to be formed. Okay, so metals will displace dash from the acids, metals will displace the hydrogen gas from the acids. For example, when we are reacting Na with HCl, sodium reacting with the hydrochloric acid. Sodium on reaction with the hydrochloric acid, what we are going to get? We get sodium chloride, NaCl, there is no doubt. But what about the hydrogen? The hydrogen will go out in the form of hydrogen gas. So hydrogen gas is going to be obtained when 2 moles of sodium and 2 moles of hydrogen chloride are reacting together and producing 1 mole of hydrogen gas and 2 moles of sodium chloride. So hydrogen gas is going to be liberated when metals are reacting with acids. Similarly, if we are going to write the reaction of magnesium with H2SO4, sulfuric acid, when magnesium reacting with the sulfuric acid, we can expect the magnesium sulfate formation along with the liberation of the hydrogen gases. So again here what is coming out? Hydrogen gas is coming out. Acids contain H plus ions. H plus ions are present in the acid, so they are replaced by the metals. Okay, they are replacing. Who is taking the position of hydrogen in the case of the product? Hydrogen position is taken by magnesium. Here also if you observe, hydrogen position is taken by sodium. Okay, so automatically the hydrogen will come out. So two hydrogen atoms are combining together and forming hydrogen gas. So which gas is going to be coming out in the process? Metals generally displaces hydrogen from the acids, and hydrogen will come out in the form of hydrogen gas. So H plus ions will come out in the form of hydrogen gas. Okay, right. The property of a metal to produce ringing sound. Property of a metal to produce ringing sound is called dash. What is ductility? Ductility is the wire formation. Okay, wire formation is ductility. What about the malleability? Malleability is the thin sheet formation. Okay, which can be, metals can be beaten out in forming the thin sheets. It is malleability. So malleability is associated with the formation of thin sheets. Ductility is with respect to the wire formation. So wire formation is ductility, the sheet formation is malleability. Conductivity is conduction of electricity. So conduction of electricity is conductivity. Okay, conduction of heat and electricity is conductivity. Okay, conduction of electricity is heat and electricity. So we can say conductivity is conduction of electricity. Okay, sonority is the ringing sound production. Okay, ringing sound producing ability of metals is taken as sonority. So the property of a metal to produce the ringing sound is sonorous. Metals are sonorous in nature, whereas non-metals are non-sonorous. Non-metals are non-sonorous. Okay, let us see one more. Materials that do not allow electricity to pass through them are called. The materials which will not allow the electricity to pass through them. Okay. So, the material which allows the electricity, material which allows electricity to pass through them, generally called as conductors. Okay. So, the material which is going to allow the electricity and heat to flow through them, they are called as conductors. They are called as conductors. Okay. And the materials, okay, the materials which do not allow, for electricity to pass through them, they are called as non-conductors, or they are called as insulators. They are called as insulators. Okay. So, materials which conduct electricity are called conductors, and the materials which does not allow the electricity to flow through them are called as insulators. So, here the question is given, the materials which are not going to allow the electricity to pass through them are called as insulators. Okay. They are going to be called as insulators. So, here conductors, these will allow the electricity to pass through them, allows the electricity to pass through them. Semiconductors will also allow the electricity to pass through them, but the conductivity capacity of semiconductors is in between conductors and insulators. Insulators, they do not allow, okay, insulators, they do not allow electricity to pass through them. So, they do not allow, the insulators will not allow electricity to pass through them. Whereas superconductors, these are the conductors, or these are the substances which allow the electricity to pass through them even at low temperatures. So, at low conditions of temperatures also the conductivity will be very, very high. So, the materials which are having very high conductivity, they can be taken as superconductors. Okay. So, the materials which do not allow the electricity to pass through them are called insulators. They are called as insulators. Okay. Next one, oxides of metals are usually dash in nature. This is the question that is little bit away from what we have discussed exactly, but of course we can easily identify, or whenever metal is going to react with oxygen, it give corresponding metal oxide. Okay. Metals, whenever they are going to react with oxygen, we get a corresponding metal oxide. Okay. Similarly, even non-metal also will react with oxygen and produces corresponding non-metal oxides. Non-metal oxides. Oxygen is going to react with almost all elements that are available in the periodic table except the noble metals like gold, platinum and palladium. Okay. Except gold, platinum and palladium, oxygen will react with almost all elements. Okay. So, when it is reacting with metals, we get metal oxide. When it is reacting with the non-metal, we get non-metal oxide. Okay. So, metal oxides and non-metal oxides are going to be formed, but of course metals are basic in nature. So, automatically their corresponding oxides are basic oxides. So, they are metal oxides are basic in nature, they are going to produce basic oxides, whereas non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. What about non-metal? Non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. Oxygen is capable of reacting with the metals and non-metals, giving their corresponding metal oxides and non-metal oxides. But here if you observe, metal oxides are basic in nature, whereas non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. So, it is very clear that metal oxides are forming the basic oxides, whereas non-metals are forming acidic oxides. So, oxides of metals are generally basic in nature, they are all basic in nature usually, but of course there are few metal oxides which are also acidic in nature and some are even amphoteric. Amphoteric oxide means it does not exhibit, it is not going to react with the acid or not going to react with the bases. Okay, right. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. So, it is a good conductor of heat as well as good conductor of electricity. So, it is a both good conductor of heat and electricity. So, the correct answer for this particular question is C, both heat and electricity. So, metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Okay. Graphite is a dash and conducts electricity. Just now we have discussed non-metal which is good conductor of heat and electricity. We have seen it is a graphite. So, graphite is dash which conducts electricity. Graphite is a non-metal which is capable of conducting the electricity. So, the only non-metal which conduct electricity is graphite. Okay. Of course, metals, most of the metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Of course, there are some exceptions also available, but most of them are good conductors. In the case of non-metals, most of them are bad conductors of heat and electricity, but graphite is a compound of allotropy of carbon which is a good conductor of heat and electricity. So, it is a non-metal which is good conductor of heat and electricity. Metalloids have the properties of, can you please answer this one? Metalloids have the properties of metals, non-metals, both metals and non-metals, acidic. Yes, metalloids will have the properties of metals and non-metal, both metals and non-metals. It is going to exhibit the properties of metals as well as non-metals. Okay. Therefore, they are called as metalloids. Metalloids are the elements which are going to exhibit the properties of metals as well as the properties of non-metals, right? Yeah, which of the following is a radioactive element? Which of the following is a radioactive element? So, here if you observe rubidium, okay, cesium, radon, iodine. So, among the given options if you observe, rubidium is a metal, cesium is also a metal, iodine is a non-metal, okay, and radon is a radioactive element. What is radon? Radon is radioactive element. What are radioactive elements? Radioactive elements are those elements which emit radiations, and of course radioactive elements are harmful. Radioactive elements are harmful. So, which of the following is a radioactive element? It is radon which is a radioactive element, remaining are metals and non-metals. Okay. So, please observe this one and give me the answer. Among the following the metalloid is, which of the following is a metalloid? Please look at the options and identify which of the following is a metalloid. Okay. I will come back in 1 minute. So, which of the following is metalloid? Let me write the symbols. Selenium is Se, sodium is Na, calcium is Ca, potassium is K. We know that sodium is a metal, okay. Similarly, calcium is also a metal, potassium is also a metal, okay. So, we have metals in our hand. So, all the sodium, calcium, potassium are metals, whereas selenium is a metalloid. So, which of the following is a metalloid? Selenium is a metalloid. Okay. I think you got the clear idea which are metals and which are non-metals. We have discussed selenium is going to occupy the bridge between the metals and non-metals. So, these are the elements which are going to exhibit the properties of metal and as well as non-metals. Okay. And of course, only around 7 to 8 elements are metalloids in nature in the periodic table. They are exactly occupying the position in the middle of the periodic, the in between the metals as well as non-metals. So, I think you got a clear idea about these concepts, I think so, right. So, whatever we have discussed so far are going to be the main level questions as far as the chemical classification of elements is considered. Okay. I think you have enjoyed the class today. We will come up with some more informative, that is advanced level questions from chemical classification. Please go on reading, please keep on reading try to understand the important points. Please note down the important points so that you can have a high grip on your concept. So you can easily attempt the questions when we are going to write the examinations. Okay. So have a nice day. Thank you.